Super Star Force is an example of a trend that we've already been seeing the stirrings of. This is a let's slam a couple of popular genres together game. In this case, it's a basic Star Force style shoot 'em up, merged with a Zelda style action-adventure game. And you know in 1986 there's nothing Famicom developers liked more than hiding all of their objects throughout the game. So we've got a bit of that too. The full title of the game is Super Star Force Jikureki no Himitsu, which to translate literally would be Super Star Force Secret of the Space-Time Calendar, which I think makes this the first game about time travel on the system. And as you might expect about something involving time travel, the plot gets really convoluted. In Space-Time Calendar year 2010, you defeated the super powerful alien Gortys as it returned to Earth. That was Star Force. But Gortys is coming back in the year 2137. The hero of Star Force, Ralph, decides to travel in time to stop Gortys. But traveling forward isn't possible unless he locates all of the space-time keys. And those are found in the past. However, the calendar's dated from the first time that Gortys' forces attacked. And as you go back in time, they become stronger. So basically you have to find items in 7 eras of the past so that you can travel to the future. The game starts as a shoot 'em up, and the A button fires. You can only have 3 shots on the screen at once though. It's not difficult for a human being to surpass that firing rate, let alone an auto-fire controller. That gives the shooting kind of a jerky sensation. I eventually wound up switching out for the good old Hudson Joy card, and then switching the auto-fire to different levels as I needed it. Every enemy that you shoot down earns you some time crystals. Those aren't points in the upper left-hand corner. If you're shot down, you lose half of them, and you also only have 3 lives. So there's 2 penalties for making a mistake. As you fly along, you'll see these red panels. When you're over one and press B, you'll land there. Typically, spots marked in are stores. You can buy power-ups there, but none of them are used in flight. Also, most of them only last until you die. The panels with the W on them occur at the very end of the shooting area. They'll let you warp backwards in time to the previous era. Naturally, the further back you go, the more it costs to go back. If you don't have enough crystals to go through the warp, or just don't want to go through it, then you loop back to the beginning of that era. The blank red ones are really convenient. They're also warp points, but they can take you to places that you've been. So you can jump between eras that you've been to, and to different points in the same level. Why would you want to return to an era you've been through? Well, it's a time travel game, obviously. The keys to time are hidden in dungeons that are found in each era. And typically, the way that you open them is to do something in the past that makes it open in the future. A good example of this is that the world in 1608 has been devastated by a giant monster. If you go back to 1301, you'll find the monster's egg. By destroying the egg in 1301, more of the buildings survive in 1608, including this pyramid, which is the second dungeon. So it's similar to Super Zevious, where you have to figure out how to open up the next area. One kindness they give you is that when you game over and hit start, you begin in 2010, but it's actually a continue, and every place you've already been to is unlocked. So you're ready to head inside and get your key of time. What you're going to find are Zelda-style dungeons. You have to progress through the rooms, and your goal is to find 2 crystals which will be given to you by the merchant. Getting both of them unlocks the scary door, which just has the key inside. The dungeons do have bosses, but they're guarding one of the 2 crystals. In the dungeons, the time crystals become your life bar, and the enemies don't drop additional time crystals, so whatever you go in with is what you have. There are shops in the dungeons as well, and they tend to have some of the better items. Naturally, the bombs blow holes in the wall so that you can get to hidden areas. You have to press against a wall and then press B to use them. The boots increase your movement speed. The wings will teleport you out of the dungeon if you hit the B button twice. useful if you're getting overwhelmed, since you can just go outside and shoot down a few enemies to recover your life. The rifle enhancement increases your gun's rate of fire. The laser cutter allows you to shoot through walls. It's actually kind of useful on this first boss here, where you can stand safely over here and just shoot away. The power wrist is armor, and it reduces the damage you take by half. All of those are items that you lose when you die. And that's both in the dungeons and when you're flying around. There's one more item to buy, and that's the sun lamp. It doesn't go away when you die, but it's also only used in one place. Using the sun lamp in the wrong place can actually trigger a bug that prevents the game from being completable. It's kind of hard to find the status screen. You have to pause the game and then press select. That will show you what you've acquired and done in all the eras. If I had to sum up Super Star Force, I think I'd go with weirdly uninspired. What I just described to you is a pretty complex game that actually sounds a bit interesting. It's bringing together a lot of distinct elements. But in play, Super Star Force winds up feeling kind of bland. I think the biggest issue with it is the shooting. The enemies aren't very complex, and there's only 3 or 4 distinct patterns. The original Star Force felt like it had more involved shooting than this. And in the dungeons, once you realize that you're not getting anything for killing the enemies except getting them out of your way, all you're going to do is push your way through to the doors. There's more variety to the enemies in the dungeons, but not in a good way. These insects just jump straight on top of you. That makes them tough to dodge, but then they also come in groups of 3 and 4. And then there are these bouncing balls that, once they start appearing, they seem to continue spawning even in rooms where they weren't before. What Super Star Force does is sticks 2 C-tier games together, and the result is not more than the sum of its parts.